My beloved child, be still for a moment and listen carefully to me today. There is something I need you to understand before you continue walking into the next season of your life. Not every hand that reaches toward you carries peace. Not every voice that comforts you carries truth. Not every connection that awakens your emotions has been sent by me. I know your heart. I know how deeply you love. I know how easily you give people a benefit of the doubt. I know there have been times when someone only needed a few kind words to gain access to the deepest places within your soul. But my child, I'm calling you into a season of discernment. For too long you have mistaken emotional intensity for spiritual confirmation. You have called attachment love. You have called anxiety passion. You have called confusion destiny. And because of this, your heart has often become exhausted. You have spent nights overthinking conversation. You have replayed words in your mind again and again. You have tried to understand why some people entered your life with warmth but slowly became the very reason your peace disappeared. Today I want to open your eyes, not to make you fearful, not to make you cold, not to make you suspicious of everyone, but to teach you how to protect what is holy within you. As it is written, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. My child, your heart is precious. It is not something to hand carelessly to every person who knows how to speak gently. There are people who appear understanding, people who know exactly what to say, people who arrive during lonely seasons and make you feel seen. But not every person who understands your pain has been sent to heal your soul. Some people only know how to connect with your wounds. They recognize your emptiness. They recognize your need for comfort. And without realizing it, you slowly begin depending on them more than depending on you. That is why I am slowing you down. You have been asking me why certain relationships suddenly changed, why certain people became distant, why some doors closed even after you prayed so hard. Beloved child, not every loss is punishment. Sometimes I remove things because I can see where they would eventually lead you. You only see the beginning. I see ending. There are paths that appear beautiful at first but quietly lead your soul away from peace. There are connections that feel exciting in the beginning but slowly drain your spirit. There are people who awaken strong emotions inside you but cannot protect the calling I have placed upon your life. And because I love you, I will not allow everything to remain. I know there were moments when you thought, maybe if I try harder, things will finally become stable. Maybe if I love more deeply, they will stay. Maybe if I sacrifice more of myself, everything will work out. But hear me clearly today. Real love does not require you to lose yourself in order to keep it. What comes from me will not demand that you abandon your peace. What comes from me will not make you constantly question your worth. What comes from me will not force you to shrink your spirit just to avoid being abandoned. My child, I have seen the exhaustion hidden behind your smile. I have seen the emotional weight you carry in silence. You became so used to trying to hold everything together that you forgot what true peace feels like. There were seasons when your mind never rested. You constantly analyzed, constantly worried, constantly feared losing people. But that fear was never meant to rule your heart. For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7, a sound mind. Do you understand what that means, beloved? It means I never intended for your relationships to destroy your inner peace. I never intended for love to feel like emotional slavery. I never intended for your heart to become addicted to uncertainty. That many times you stayed attached to things that quietly damaged your spirit because you were afraid of being alone. But loneliness is not permission to settle for confusion. I want you to hear this deeply. You are not desperate. You are not forgotten. You are not difficult to love. The wrong connections made you question your value. But your value has never changed in my eyes. Before anyone ever noticed you, I already chose you. Before anyone ever comforted you, I already loved you. Before anyone ever abandoned you, I already knew every tear you would cry. You belong to me, and because you belong to me, I will interrupt things that threaten your peace. Sometimes you call it rejection, but often it is protection. Remember Joseph. He was betrayed by people he trusted, sold by those closest to him, thrown into darkness. At the time, everything probably looked like abandonment, but what looked like destruction was actually preparation. For there are seasons when I lost separation because I'm repositioning you for something greater. My child, stop assuming that every closed door means I have forgotten you. Sometimes closed doors are evidence that I'm guarding your. You cannot always recognize danger in the beginning, because not every danger looks evil at first. Some dangers look comforting. Some dangers look attractive. Some dangers sound compassionate. But beneath the surface they slowly pull you away from clarity. That is why discernment matters. Discernment is not fear. Discernment is wisdom protected by peace. I am teaching you to stop ignoring the warnings within your spirit. There were moments when your soul already felt uneasy. Moments when something inside you whispered, slow down, be careful, do not become too attached yet. But because your emotions were strong, you kept moving forward. Beloved child, emotions are not always confirmation. Not everything intense comes. There are emotional connections that create obsession instead of peace. There are attachments that make you dependent instead of free. There are relationships that consume your focus until you stop hearing my voice clearly. And when someone begins occupying more of your heart than my presence does, you begin losing yourself. That is why I am calling you back to the center. The center is not another person. The center is not emotional validation. The center is not attention. The center is. When I remain at the center of your life, you can love without becoming blind. You can care without becoming controlled. You can open your heart without losing your identity. My child, there are people who only know how to love wounded versions of you. They feel comfortable when you are weak, comfortable when you depend on them, comfortable when you constantly seek their reassurance. But when you begin healing, when you become stronger, when you regain clarity, they become uncomfortable, because unhealthy attachment feeds on instability. True love is different. True love celebrates your healing. True love encourages your growth. True love brings you closer to peace instead of farther away from it. Remember Jonathan and David. Jonathan loved David deeply, but he never tried to control David's destiny. He never became jealous of David's calling. He protected him, strengthened him, encouraged him. That is the kind of love that carries nature. Love that strengthens, love that honors, not love that suffocates, not love that manipulates, not love that quietly steals your joy. My beloved child, I know your heart longs for closeness. I know you want to feel understood. I know there are moments when silence feels heavy. But do not let emotional hunger decide who gains access to your soul. Loneliness can make unhealthy things appear beautiful. Fear can make toxic attachments feel necessary. That is why I keep telling you, come back to me first. Bring every connection before me. Bring every relationship before me. Bring every emotional attachment before me. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to peace? Does this strengthen my spirit? Does this make me more truthful, more free, more grounded? Or does it leave me anxious, confused, emotionally exhausted? My child, your peace is not a small thing. The peace I give you is a guard standing at the gate of your heart. As it is written, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. When peace repeatedly disappears, pay attention. Do not ignore the warning simply because your emotions are attached. There are times when your soul already recognizes danger long before your mind is willing to accept it. You call it overthinking, but sometimes it is discernment fighting to be heard. My child, stop chasing things that constantly pull you out of alignment. You were not created to live in emotional chaos. You were not created to beg for consistency. You were not created to feel trapped between hope and fear every day. I created you for freedom, and true love does not destroy freedom. Anything that requires you to abandon your peace in order to keep it is not carrying my spirit. Remember Samson. He was strong in battle, strong before enemies, strong before danger, but he became vulnerable when he placed what was holy into the wrong hands. Not every battle comes with violence. Some battles arrive through emotional closeness, through seductive comfort, through unhealthy attachment. Samson lost his strength because he entrusted his vulnerability to someone who did not honor what was sacred. Beloved child, learn from. Do not place the deepest parts of your soul into hands that have not been tested by time, truth, and peace. You do not need to rush. What is truly from me will not disappear simply because you take time to discern. Counterfeit things always demand urgency. They pressure you, they rush you, they make you afraid of missing out. But what comes from me carries peace, clarity, steadiness. My child, I know you have been hurt. I know there are memories that still linger. I know there are moments when old wounds suddenly reopen. Sometimes you still wonder, was I not enough? Why did they leave? Why was my love not valued? But hear me carefully. Another person's inability to honor your heart is not proof that you lack worth. Some people leave because they were never assigned to stay. Some people disappear because their purpose was only temporary. Some people walk away because they cannot follow you into the season I'm preparing. Do not turn every departure into a verdict about your value. Some departures are mercy. I know that truth hurts sometimes, because part of you still wants to hold on. Part of you still hopes things could become different. Part of you still misses what once felt comforting. But my child, not every familiar thing is healthy. There are people you miss simply because their emotions became attached to the pattern. Not because they carried peace. Not because they carried my blessing. That is why healing requires discernment. You cannot fully heal while constantly returning to what wounded your spirit. I am teaching you how to let go without bitterness, how to walk away without hatred, how to release people without losing your softness, because I do not want pain to harden your heart. I'm not calling you into isolation. I'm calling you into wisdom. There is a difference. You can still love deeply, still remain compassionate, still remain gentle, but must also learn boundaries. Boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are protection. Even Jesus withdrew from crowds. Even Jesus did not entrust himself to everyone. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your energy, your emotions, and your spirit. My child, I need you to stop calling emotional exhaustion love. Love should not constantly destroy your mental peace. Love should not force you to overanalyze every interaction. Love should not make you lose yourself. What comes from me may challenge you to grow, but it will not emotionally consume you. There are things ahead that require a healthier version of you. The season I am preparing for you cannot be entered while still chained to unhealthy attachments. That is why some things are falling apart. That is why certain illusions are breaking. That is why certain truths are finally becoming visible. You ask me for clarity. Now I'm giving it to you. But clarity often hurts before it heals. Sometimes the truth feels painful because it destroys the fantasy your heart was holding on to. Yet the truth will always free you. As it is written, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. Freedom is what I want for you. Not emotional bondage, not dependence, not confusion disguised as love. My child, stop fearing the empty spaces. Some empty spaces are holy. When I remove unhealthy attachments, they can initially feel lonely. But I am not emptying your life to punish you. I am creating room for peace, creating room for clarity, creating room for the future I have prepared. You cannot receive new blessings while desperately clinging to expired seasons. Let go, not because your heart never cared, but because your soul deserves freedom. I know there are moments when your emotions still pull you backward, moments when memories become strong, moments when loneliness whispers, maybe go back, maybe try again, maybe this time will be different. But my child, do not return to places where your peace repeatedly disappeared. Do not romanticize the very things that once broke your spirit. Healing requires honesty, and honesty means admitting when something consistently pulls you away from peace. I want you to stop trying to save connections I'm allowing to end. Some things cannot continue into your future, not because you failed, but because they no longer align with where I am leading you. Trust me, I know the road ahead. You only see today's emotions. I see your entire destiny. There are people I am preparing to bring into your life who will not make you question your value every day. People who will honor your spirit. People who will not compete with your peace. But before those things arrive, I need to heal the places within you that became addicted to instability. You became so accustomed to emotional inconsistency that peace started feeling unfamiliar. But peace is not boring. Peace is healthy. Chaos was never proof of depth. My child, the enemy often disguises unhealthy attachment as intense love because he knows emotional confusion keeps you distracted. A distracted soul struggles to hear my voice clearly. That is why I keep calling you back to stillness. Stillness is where discernment becomes clear. Stillness is where your spirit can fully breathe. Stillness is where my voice becomes easier to recognize. You do not need to chase what belongs to you. What I have appointed for your life will not require endless emotional suffering to remain. Trust me enough to stop forcing what no longer carries peace. I know there are tears you have not shown anyone, tears cried in silence, questions asked in the darkness. But I have seen all of it. And I want you to know this today. You are not hard to love. You are not too broken. You are not too emotional. You are not too much. You simply gave your heart to places that could not carry the weight of what was sacred. But I am restoring you. I am teaching you how to recognize the difference between attachment and alignment, between obsession and peace, between emotional hunger and genuine love. This lesson is not meant to destroy your ability to love. It is meant to purify. Because one day you will love without fear, without desperation, without losing yourself. One day your heart will no longer panic over who stays and who leaves. Because your security will finally rest in me. My beloved child, hear me clearly. You do not need to beg for what has truly been assigned to your life. What comes from me will not need manipulation to survive. It will not need emotional games. It will not need pressure. True love carries honesty, steadiness, peace, and above all, it will never pull you away from me. That is how you will know. Anything that consistently darkens your spirit, weakens your peace, and pulls you away from truth cannot be the place where I intend your soul to rest. So release the fear. Release the old attachments. Release the exhausting need to control every outcome. You are safe in my hands. The future ahead of you does not depend on your ability to force people to stay. It depends on your willingness to trust where I am leading. And where I am leading you, there is freedom, there is peace, there is clarity, there is healing. Walk forward now, not with bitterness, not with fear, not with suspicion, but with wisdom, for I am teaching you to love with open eyes, to trust with discernment, to care without losing yourself. And as you remain close to me, your spirit will become stronger, your peace will become deeper, your discernment will become clearer. No calfate connection will be able to hold you for long. No false love will be able to blind you forever. No emotional confusion will be able to replace my peace. Because I'm restoring your soul. I'm healing the wounds that once made you vulnerable to unhealthy attachment. I'm teaching you how to recognize my voice above emotional noise. I'm leading you into maturity. And one day you will look back and understand. The endings protected you. The delays prepared you. The separations refined you. And the things you once cried over were often the very things I was saving you from. So breathe again, my child. Rest again, trust again, for I am still guiding your life. I am still protecting your future. And I am still preparing something better than what you were afraid to lose. Stay near me, and I will teach your heart the difference between what only feels intense and what is truly holy. For what is holy will always carry peace, and what comes from me will never require you to lose your soul in order to keep it.